Hello there and welcome back to my channel. Thanks for joining me. Today I want to show you this interesting position and see how you would play a 5-4. So white is on a roll. Have a think about it. Now here you can see that there are various options on how we can play the 5-4. So firstly, we might choose to cover the blot in our home board by breaking the 8 and playing 2 in, 8 to 4, 8 to 3. This is one good option. Strengthens our home board from a 3-point to a 4-point. Another option is we can clear the mid. This gives us good spares on our 9 and 8 point, and we can cover the 3 on a subsequent roll, gives us slightly better flexibility. We may want to run one checker from the 20 to the 11 point. Here we duplicate 4s, but the correct move here, and well done if you recognized it, is to play both checkers off the 20 point into the outfield, breaking our golden anchor. Now we can just run that on a slightly higher setting, plus just to make sure it comes up correctly. And there we have it. So the best move is showing as 2016, 2015, and anything else is showing as an error. And it results in a position like this. Now you might be thinking, well, this looks very risky. Like, why would I leave so many shots for green to hit? So here, any direct 3 or 4 hits, and of course there are indirects also. But here I could tell you that even if green were to roll a 3-4 next turn and be able to pick up both blots, it would be a big mistake to do so. Now why is that? Now the reason for that is because green's home board is incredibly weak. He has 3 blots in his home board and only 1 point is made. In comparison, our home board is very strong. We have the 6-5-4 formation, which Bill Roberti called the rack. Even though we have the blot in board, our home board is far stronger than our opponent's home board. So by leaving the anchor, by playing 2 off a 20 point as white, we are taking advantage of green's weak home board position and also taking advantage of our strong home board position. If green is to hit us here, he's going to be unable to cover all the blots in board. So it gives green a difficult choice on whether or not to hit us because of the weakness of his board. We are testing his vulnerability, exploiting that, as we can see by the strength of his home board. So always when you make your decision, you should always look at the 4 quadrants of the board just to make sure you're not missing things and to see how you can find the weaknesses in your opponent's position and exploit them in your moves. So if we look at the alternative players that we mentioned earlier, we can see maybe why they are not correct, because it's often right to look at candidate decisions. Now, if we decided to clear the 13 and put 1 checker extra on the 8 and 9 point, we might be thinking, yes, we have good flexibility here with 2 spares to play. But the big problem with this is we have now disconnected our army. Now, connectivity is a really central concept in Backgammon, which comes up in all the books. The problem here is, how are we going to bring these checkers now to safety? They are 11 pips away from the points here. So unless we roll a 6-5 or a double, it's going to be very hard to escape these, and green might at that point have strengthened their home board, got further control of the outfield. So disconnecting our front and back army is usually not a very good idea. We want to try to keep our checkers at 6 pips or fewer apart so we can bring them to safety and move them as a unit together. Now the other alternative play is to make the 3-point, as we saw. Now even though this does give us a very strong home board, we are now left in a TMP situation, too many points, and all 3 points we have here are stripped. So this means we have decreased flexibility. Flexibility is another central idea where we need numbers to play. And here, by having these stripped points with only 2 checkers, you can see how many numbers will play badly next turn. A lot of 6s, a lot of 5s, and you can go into dice distribution on XG just to go through all those bad numbers. So we can rule out this decision as well. So the correct move, as we've seen, is to play both checkers off the 20-point into the outfield, like so. Now, it's worth asking ourselves, well, if we don't run now off the anchor, when exactly are we going to run? So now is basically the perfect opportunity to break the golden point. Now, some people say never break the golden point, never ever, but no rule in backgammon is 100% sure. So now is the time to do it. If we make some variations to the position though, then the move changes. So let's take one of green's checkers from the midpoint onto the 8-point. So now he has 4 checkers there. So now, how would you play 5-4? And here, if we just do a slightly deeper analysis on the first 3 moves, so here the right move is to play 1 off a 9-point and 1 off the 8-point, resulting in this position. So here we have given green another 5 pips in the race, and now because green has a race advantage, it's simply wrong to break the anchor because we want this now as a defensive point or as a holding point, and instead to make this play. But what is interesting about this play, 9-5, 8-3, resulting in this position, is we are still taking advantage of green's weak home board. Strategically, we like to leave blots in front of a stripped anchor, particularly when our opponent has a blots in board, because if green were to hit us here, then he would leave a lot of return shots for us, and again we take advantage of our strong home board. Really the only good roll here for green is double 1s, and even that doesn't play that great because he would still have a funny home board after that. So with green having a slight race advantage, this is a better play. Let's have a look at another variation. Now, what if green had the 4-point made? So green now had a 2-point board with only 2 blots rather than a 1-point board with 3 blots. How would you play 5-4 now? So now the right move, and let's do the analysis. So now the right move is to break the 13-point. Play 2 down. The next best move is to take 2 off a 9-point, and they are quite borderline. Now if we decided to break the anchor here and play 2 off a 20-point, it would be a big blunder to do so. So we've given green a slight pip advantage, but also we've made green's home board a lot stronger. So he now has a 6 and 4 point. By running off the anchor like so with both checkers, we can end up in a really problematic situation because green could hit us once, cover one of the blots, we could dance, and then we could be cubed out. So here, playing the running play, bringing 2 checkers into the outfield is simply too dangerous. If green had the 3 point made instead of a 4 point, which is not as good a point to have made, we can still see that the running play is a really bad idea. So 3 blots in board, we make the running play. 2 blots in board, we stay put and use it as a defensive point. Now, this move where we jump 2 checkers from our home board out into the outfield does have a name. Now, the great Japanese grandmaster Michihito Kageyama, also known as Michi, called this move the double falcon. So if you have 2 checkers in your home board and you jump them out into the outfield into what looks like a vulnerable position, this is called the double falcon. Now, often the double falcon is leaving the anchor, breaking a 20 point, but not always. It simply means taking 2 of the checkers out into the outfield like 2 birds going into flight. Now, it's a wonderfully colourful term, and we need more colourful expressions in backgammon. Chess, they have like so many cool gambits, but in backgammon we need more colourful, eccentric and flamboyant terminology to draw more people into the game. So now you know how to play the 5-4. Look at your home boards, look at strength and weakness, look at alternative candidate plays, and ask yourself, if you don't run now, when exactly are you going to run? Please like and subscribe if you enjoy my channel. New videos every Wednesday. Goodbye.